Well, welcome to my channel. This is Serge bringing you another action figure collector's review on the Marvel Legends Spider-Man Agent Venom, Flash Thompson. As you can tell, you get the figure staring at you through the window like a peeping Tom would do. You get a nice illustrated image of this figure right there. It looks really good. Over here on the back of the box, you get a product image of this figure. You get Marvel Legends Agent Venom, a little bit of a bio, other figures from this wave. You also get a little bit of that legal stuff that no one ever reads, the barcode. There's nothing at the sides, there's nothing at the bottom, and there's nothing at the top. So let's get to it. Open this bad boy up. Before we get started and looking at the accessories, I want to take a little bit of time to say that I was messing around with some furniture and got some furniture stain up underneath my fingernails. So they're not dirty, it's just stained from that furniture stain. But anyway, let's take a good look at these accessories. And over here, these are the two hands that come onto the figure. And every Venom fan knows that you have to have the symbiote signature web shooting pattern right there, where the web comes out of, and that's great. I like the points on the fingers for these, and then you get trigger fingers for Agent Venom. That's really good. And my pan-ups came out fairly clean, so I'm happy with that. Looking at these little hand gesturing hands or sprawled out hands, I like them a lot. I think you need these for whenever you're taking multiple figure poses and all this other stuff. Multiple pictures for your figures, I'm sorry. Anyway, we're moving on, and I think they look phenomenal, especially for Venom hands. And the pan-up still came out very, very clean, so I'm very pleased with that. And these are your two fisted hands for whenever he's got to do a little bit of one-on-one combat, or one-on-two or whatever, whenever he's throwing down. And I do have a little bit of extra paint right there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's a little bit of a bummer. But for the most part, these paint-outs came out really, really clean. And we'll take a look at one of his gats. And this looks like a shotgun. Now, I'm not familiar with the weapon choices that Agent Venom uses in the comic books. I do know he uses guns. I do know he uses a lot of guns. But this one right here, I think it looks more like a shotgun. But it's like, I don't know, it's more like a Nerf gun, because I ain't ever really seen a shotgun with this little piece right here on it. But I don't know, you can correct me in the comments below. Let me know what kind of gun this is. Moving on, we got this little Nerf gun right here. It's not really, I mean, it does the job, but it doesn't really look like a gun. Like, it does look like a gun, but it doesn't look like a real gun, if that makes any sense. That's why I called it a Nerf gun. But I mean, it does the job. And also with this gun, you move this hand back, it does fit in this holster right there, which any figure that has a removable gun from the holster, that's bonus points for me. All right, and then we get this head sculpt for Flash Thompson, and I've got to say, this thing looks amazing. Like, it's a really good head sculpt. I mean, the pan-ups, very clean. It does look like, if I was to picture a Flash Thompson, this would be a Flash Thompson that I would picture. So that's really awesome. Now, my hair is a little off the mark right there, which is a little bit of a bummer. But, I mean, certain angles, certain poses, you're not going to be able to tell it. And, I probably won't even rock this head sculpt onto this figure. I'll probably rock the Venom head sculpt. But, yeah, I like the hair, the way it came out and everything. But anyway, that's enough of that. Going on to this one, and this is your very basic masked head sculpt. I mean, I'm pretty sure we've seen this on like a Spider-Man figure or something like that. Actually kind of reminds me of a Spawn in a weird little way. But anyway, you do have a little bit of like wrinkling right there around the nose and stuff, and it looks good. The pants came out really clean, so I'm very satisfied with that. And that was a good look at his accessories. Here he is, Agent Venom, Flash Thompson, all out of the box and getting ready to blast some baddies onto your screen. Now we're getting ready to figure out if this figure is really worth the purchase in just a second. I'll give you a quick rundown of where this figure comes from. So Flash Thompson winds up getting into an accident, and I think he's a soldier, and he loses all of his limbs, and then he eventually comes in contact with the Venom symbiote, and it regrows all of his limbs, and then he's able to walk again, and then he eventually joins the Guardians of the Galaxy. There's another version where he just winds up in a wheelchair and bonds with it, and then he becomes Agent Venom. And then there's another one where Harry Osborn actually bonds with it and becomes Agent Venom as well, whenever he's got like a bone deficiency, and that's that PlayStation 2 game. But if I'm wrong about any of those, let me know in the comments below. Let's take a good look at the articulation. First of all, his head can move up only a little bit, not a lot. That's a little disappointing. He can look down a little bit further than he can look up, which is okay. He does have that exorcist going on. He does have a bit of that confused dog going on to each side, which is a positive thing. Now this is a rubbery plastic, so it does get out of the way of articulation. You do have that perfect pitch. He can extend his arm up that far. His bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. We do have the wrist swivel. We've got the hinge that goes down and up. Move that arm to the side. He can move that far to the side on his diaphragm. He can move that far to the other side. He can crunch in that far. He can crunch back that far. He can swivel around. He does not have a waist swivel. He can kick forward that far. He can kick back ever so slightly. He does have that thigh cut. Double jointed knees, which is a pain, but I got it done. Oh my goodness, that was hard. He does not have a thigh cut. He does not have much of a foot rotation. His foot can go up that far and back ever so slightly. He does have a little bit of ankle pivot. And that was a good look at his articulation. We'll take a good look at that sculpted detail. We don't really need to look at the head again, but you do get this like little armor piece right down through here. It looks pretty good. You do get the spider logo, which is awesome. Mine came out fairly clean. I mean, there are some little spots that I can nitpick over all day long, but I mean, for the most part, it's fairly clean. I do get a seam right there on this armored shoulder pad, which is a little bit bothersome. But I do like all the spikes that's on the armor. I do like the armor underneath. I think that turned out looking good right there in the arm. I like that you can see the different muscles in there, the biceps, the triceps. And then you get more of that armored plate right there on the forearms, which looks amazing. I do like that a lot. And then the belt came out looking good as well. You have a silver right here instead of a white, which is alright by me. I mean, it breaks up the look of the figure. But yeah, you get all these little pouches and stuff. It looks very good. And then you get this line work down through here. And then over the line work, you get straps to hold on like the gun holster. And there's the gun right there. It looks very good. Of course, you get straps on this side too, but it doesn't really connect to anything. So, I mean, I guess it kind of breaks up the design. But you do get more of the armored stuff, more of the spikes on there, which looks really good. Now, my knees are very hard to bend, as you can see from the articulation, which kind of sucked. But you do get these awesome boots, and this does hinder articulation. I wish it was made out of the same kind of material right here, but it's not. This is more of a harder plastic, so you don't get to move the boots as much as I would like, but it's okay. Looking over here on the back of the figure, it's more or less the same in uniform. You know, you get all the armor pieces, and then you get his butt. And be sure to give this video a thumbs up, because I showed you Flash Thompson or Agent Venom's booty cheeks. Anyway, moving on, you get that strap that looks very good. And it's got these line works in there. That looks good. The paint apps still came out clean on the back, and then this armor piece right here in the back looks good. Everything looks good, so I'm very pleased with the way this thing looks. It scales up against a couple of other Venoms. Over there on his left, we have the Build-A-Figure Matt Gargan Venom, the Monster Venom, and over there on his right, we have the Deluxe Eddie Brock Venom. It scales up against a couple more Venoms. Over there on the left, we've got the one from the movie, and over there on the right is more of a comic book accurate Venom. And here's Here's how he scales up against a couple more symbiotes. Over there on his left, we have Lasher, and over there on his right, we have Scream. Here's how he scales up against a couple more symbiotes. Over there on his left, we have the Back in Black's Deadpool, and over there on the right, we have Carnage. Here's a couple more symbiotes. Over there, we have the Build-A-Figure symbiote Deadpool, and over there on his right, we have Thompson. Just for fun, we have Peter Parker, and we have the Retro Spider-Man. Here's my final thoughts on this figure. Hasbro cooked when it came to this figure. They got everything down right. The paint apps are clean. The articulation's decent enough to where you can take really good photos. Now, there are some gripes in the articulation department, but for the most part, I'm very pleased with this figure and the way it came out. I think it's a must-have for any Marvel Legend fan, or anybody that just collects the symbiotes or just collects for Spider-Man. I think this is a must-have for your collection. Now, let me know what you think of the figure. Let me know what you think of the review in the comments below. And as always, feel the urge to collect with Surge.